You get your license suspended. How many times you get pulled over and said, I'm driving, I was suspended
all the time.
And drunk.
And drunk.
And without insurance.
And without insurance. Drunk, no license.
They go to court.
I almost had a catastrophic driving.
Well, it's just that this,
And boy, started. I'm coming out of my stuff. Gate pulls over, right? And there's a stream of traffic going down. Turn right. So I'm looking to the
it doesn't
left.
matter to me. It's
to
really,
find a
if
place
you want to leave it,
to
it's
go
fine.
in, right? And the cars pass, and I start to turn right, and just no, a child on a bicycle is just rearing across on the sidewalk, and then it's not supposed to be on the sidewalk, and then into the crosswalk, going in the from that way, right? And I'm looking,
Yeah,
and I start to pull forward, and I slam on the brakes, and I almost hit the kid. And I thought, my God, you know. And I thought on Yom Kippur of all days, it just gave me a start. You know, like, wow, you know, you never know what would happen. If I had been a split second later in my reaction, you know, I guess I'm supposed to look. I am supposed to look both ways, but you just don't think about it. You're looking, you know, because a pedestrian is going to be walking slow enough, you know, that they're going to stop for you. You're going to see him, but this kid is. And the pedestrian crosswalk. You're supposed to be on, if you're in a bicycle, you're supposed to be on the opposite side anyway, going with the traffic, not against it, right? But it wouldn't matter, you know, if I hit that kid in my life, you know?
Even if you hit him, you didn't hurt us, like, still got to feel like this. Not only that,
Oh, yeah, I mean,
honestly,
and so you never know. You know, and so it's just kind of.
Then we'll see a picture on, then we'll see a picture on TV.
And on Yom Kippur, just, wow, it brought everything into reality. Wow.
I know, that's what's scary.
Yeah.
If kids are supposed to get off their bikes and walk it.
They are. There's a
What
guy
they do in my neighborhood, they get off and they walk their bike, they don't ride through it. And there's also, in the crosswalk, there's the crossing guards.
Well, it's just a subdivision place, so.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
It's crazy.
Are the women at your house taking everything out of it?
Huh?
Was your mom and Diane over at your place? I thought they were gonna raid a bunch of stuff out of your house.
I wasn't there, so I don't know.
The old people we belong to LA.
Up to 25 people.
And the rabbis they hired over.
For,
They have a new service watching.
Service because
Oh.
they want to come.
Oh, straight in the wall.
You're probably able to even see each other.
You have to be second. Now, that was that temple, maybe another one might not do that. So,
okay.
so.
I was so generous.
You know, they're really very strict. At least we may be in some.
No, it's too much. It's
1831. So.
Get this
but
to
then
stop
during
doing this stupid.
the council, you know, just left.
What drives me nuts?
Maybe.
Okay. Oh, well then if we're both driven nuts by ours, let's switch.
They might-
Right.
I don't know. But I just have an opinion.
Very, very
Yeah.
If there's a
We're being picky.
how do both sides see the speaker?
It'll be all right. They
I
started off
maybe
this way.
it's big enough that they can see them.
Yes, they did.
Wow, it's complicated.
I've heard about it.
There is some divided.
Yeah, they did.
So they don't want them in.
Yeah, they want to, you can see the purple.
The what?
Purple.
Purple.
Yeah. Well, they had. It's a like a summer camp. Did you see how many players ended up boys are blue and the girls are pink? So they
Oh.
Right.
Yeah, I will say that.
Players ended up
Come on.
because they unionized the advice because they were friends. They thought they were just one guy almost when he showed up.
And
When he
once
That's
I started,
That's-
started it.
That's because they were taking lessons online. They are not-
should have come in on
His numbers are-
Thursday. They said we should come in Wednesday.
I paid the whole place.
It was 120 degrees on the field.
There's not enough water out there.
I just
They were salt packers, they were doing everything they could.
wear like
Right.
And the Orthodox, I don't believe
But
it.
see, also, they knew it too.
I just.
Yeah, Jacksonville's good.
They were like grandparents.
They just got them running plays, running around.
Yeah, don't give them a chance to set.
They have been doing no huddle.
Today is the 45th anniversary.
Jacksonville did like 20. No huddle.
Because, they knew what they were doing. Yeah, they-
45 is.
I mean, but it's not-
It's 45.
They were always making big guys.
So, I don't think that we are.
Well, some anniversaries, we.
Major plays, yeah.
I really, I know that like.
DC5 do the same thing.
Yeah.
So this
Just
is-
keep doing no huddle. Just follow
I
huddle.
know they
Keep them on the field, don't let them go and get.
Jillian, do you know in conservative temple, maybe area, the women lead services in conservative temples?
They can, but not in Orthodox. Actually, some Orthodox are now having some women do it. But not
Push them out.
on a regular basis.
Hey, Jillian, do you have a
No, I just,
Eric, do you have
So if I ever want to convert, I should become an Episcopal.
Oh, I don't care. I don't know, but the funny thing you mentioned is like when churches always have communion, and some do grape juice, some do wine. The church I work for has one limited port. So it's always like a fancy, nice thing.
Oh, bye.
Yeah, so it's, you know. It's good.
All right, okay. I But to get somebody to keep coming, I would think that you either do it by making them feel guilty or providing a Bible for you to show up to see. And I would think if it's fun, because they're doing it. I mean, there are serious moments, but well, one is important, you know.
Of course,
Yeah.
I agree with that. The scary tactic.
Like, I hate to have to sit and see this, so, all right, no good. You got some more pain, huh?
Well, you know how hard it was. I didn't change my. Well, in the car, it was like 95 outside. When I just drove back, it was like 95 outside. So, well, it's like 90 degrees. And I had
But it's a Gen 3 one now. So.
maybe the rain before it gets much higher. Yeah, it was 93. Yes, it was
I gotta write it down and read, so.
You're trying to scale it. You're trying to do scale.
Well, I noticed, but I don't have my eyesight really worse.
I got one.
Like straining every reason. Well, I was thinking a little further back, it was naked, like, I mean, I got three
Right after
lenses with trifocals and the whole 9 yards. Well, I guess it's high tech, but not like 90 degrees. And the letters float up
Yes, the top. I have to make this,
I have bars. Yeah, well, some of them will have like a big line in there. And then I can tell, well, some of them probably even do that with the person who's up front, and you see the sort of screen right in front of the face. But then there's one that everything comes up, goes right away.
yeah, okay. On page 429.
And well, the angle, as you do some.
Yes.
It's like watching TV at home. You have a big front door, and it's coming through, and it just, it's up where you're looking, you know, and it creates a little dead space. It makes it more difficult.
Where's that? The crap out of John.
They used to be full of suckers that they're like 8 man.
There are only 3 left, so
We've eaten.
it fit in a container. And you guys have quite the food. You want to keep all those cardboard boxes?
Oh, no, okay, second one. Do you need it?
Hey, where's that? I don't know idea, but that gets bugs in the house.
Cardboard box is good.
What?
Cardboard box is good. Yeah. Okay. We're ready.
You need some help?
I think that's it.
Any more?
I think that's it. Now you show up.
Where should we put this?
Oh, it's supposed to be here?
Sorry.
On the floor. Should we put the water in?
No, we probably better off.
Well, we'll put it here. That's it.
There's 3.
Yeah. Well,
Sure. Don't be isolated here.
so if you look at my name, we'll just get this thing. There's a nice, when I turn the page, I have one of those. I guess I can.
All right, just open it. Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna do
Conservation
Yeah, well, that's. The actual. Trademark.
Because I have another ice chest, like,
Right, those second.
That's why I got you that big idea. Bring like.
They usually.
Bring what? If you feed them.
Okay. We're starting.
Logging for Israel. Yeah, T-shirt with a guy. Yeah. Now, I'm gonna get a T-shirt with a guy, a redneck guy with an axe, and underneath it's gonna say "Loggers for
Oh,
Welcome back. You've all heard all my announcements before, so the only one I will remind you of is please silence your phones or put them in do not disturb or just turn them on. And we're good.
Okay, we begin our service this afternoon on page 394.
On the top of page 394. At this hour, Israel stands before its God. In our prayers and our hope, we are one with all Jews on earth.
This people you have formed still lives to tell your praise.
Today we say to our children, see this sublime design which was revealed at the very beginning, and from which age to age is realized. See this people, few in number, to the world unknown, declaring at the beginning of its history what will be its history. See this people choose the mission which chooses it in the way it has foretold. See this people.
This people you have formed still lives to tell your praise.
To our friends we say, see this people, exiled twice and twice surviving, teaching in its first exile the unity of God, and in its second the oneness of humankind. Know this people.
This people, Israel, lives to tell God's praise, men's hopes, and women's dreams.
Congregation Israel, can you not see an eternal presence abiding with your people? Can you not see in your past a story told for all peoples, whose shining conclusion has yet to be unfolded?
This people lives when it lives God's praise.
At this hour, Israel stands before its God. In our prayers and our hope, we are one with all Jews on earth. We look into each other's faces and we know who we are. We look up to our God and we know eternity is in us.
We look into each other's faces and we know who we are. We look up to our God and we know eternity is in us.
Page 396. O sovereign source of salvation, you show mercy to thousands of generations, forgiving transgressions and wrongdoing. Forgive my sins, Lord, and your abundant mercy be gracious to me.
All this day you are the one we call upon.
All this day we look to you. Heal our wounds, forgive our failings. We come to you in penitence. And your steadfast love be gracious to us as we strive to abandon our evil ways.
All this day, O God, be with us.
This day, let your power grow within us, Lord. And as parents show compassion for their children, so may you put wrath aside, turning to us in pity and love.
On this day, O God, be with us as in days gone by.
This day, blot out our misdeeds and inscribe us in the book of life. Stand not apart from us, O God, for you are near to all who call upon you. Forgiveness and pardon are laws of your being.
To this day, O God, you have granted pardon to your people Israel.
On this day, we lift up our hearts to you and proclaim your might. With song and praise, we approach you. We confess and forsake our sins, as in prayer we seek forgiveness.
This day and all days, we find you at our side.
This day, your people knock at your door. To you, you're there. Yearning souls aspire, and upon you they lean. Stretch forth your hand and welcome them with your redeeming word.
You who hold fast your eternal God have found life, all of you this day. Please rise. Adonai, Sefatitita, Ufiat Italilatecha. Eternal God, open my lips, that my mouth may declare your glory. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Leah, Elohei Rachel, Ha'el HaGadol HaGibor HaNorah, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Mepunei HaKol, Bezocher Chasdevot V'Imahot, Umevi Gula Livnei Bneihem, Leman Shemo Be'ahava.
God of the past and future, God of this day, God of Israel and all the world. We know you, yet cannot name you. With our halting human speech, we say God, God of Abraham, God of Isaac, and God of Jacob, God of Sarah and Rebekah, God of Rachel and Leah, God of freedom and justice and mercy, God of understanding. You are the rule by which we measure ourselves. You are the voice we hear within us.
You are the majestic one who delights in life. Inscribe us for blessing in the book of life. Sofreinu lefai, melech hafetz b'chayim, v'kovutbeinu b'sefer ha'chayim, למענך, לאלוהים חיים. למענך, למענך, למענך אלוהים, למענך, למענך, לאלוהים חיים. למענך, למענך, למענך אלוהים, למענך, למענך, לאלוהים חיים. מלך חוזר ומשיח ומחכים, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחייב את אברהם להושיע, מחייב חיים בחסד, מחייב מתים ברחמים רבים, צומח נוכלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונענה אתה לחיות מתים. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיה המתים.
אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, קדושים הוא יום יהדות הסלע. Holiness, God of holiness, let your glory be with us as a holy light, illuminating us for the paths of righteousness.
For you are holy, your name is holy, and those who strive to be holy declare your glory day by day. Blessed is the Eternal One who rules in holiness.
Seated. The good to do it together. We have loved, we have blessed, we have grown, we have spoken positively.
We have been raised up, we have shown compassion, we have acted enthusiastically, we have been empathetic, we have cultivated truth, we have been given good advice, we have respected, we have learned, we have forgiven, we have comforted, we have been creative, we have stirred, we have been just, we have longed for Israel, we have been merciful, we have given full effort, we have supported, we have contributed, we have repaired. We turn to page 403.
Let now an infinite presence teach us a gentleness that transcends force and melts our hardness of heart. Then shall we be sensitive to the needs of our neighbors and responsive to their pleas. All who struggle vainly for attention,
And those who shrink from another's touch.
all those whose faces we forget from one encounter to the next.
and those who never seem to find a resting place in the family of the secure,
all whose ambitions exceed their skill,
and those whose early promise has dimmed to small achievements,
all whose minds are clouded or weak,
and those who are burdened with broken bodies,
all who wait in pain only for death,
and those who wait for news that never comes,
those who are unloved with none to love,
All widows and widowers, abandoned husbands and wives, neglected children,
all who are deprived by the callousness of others,
and all who have been driven from their homes by wars they never made.
to all these, O God, may we respond with open hearts. We have sinned against life by failing to work for peace.
We have sinned against life by keeping silent in the face of injustice.
We have sinned against life by ignoring those who suffer in distant lands.
We have sinned against life by forgetting the poor in our own midst.
We have failed to respect those made in the image of God.
We have withheld our love from those who depend on us.
We have engaged in gossip and repeated slander.
We have distorted the truth for our own advantage.
We have conformed to fashion and not to conscience.
We have indulged in despair and trafficked with sinners.
We have given meager support to our houses of study.
We have neglected our heritage of learning.
We have sinned against ourselves and paid scant heed to the life of the Spirit.
We have sinned against ourselves and have not risen to fulfill the best that is in us.
For all these sins, O God of mercy,
Forgive us, pardon us, grant us atonement. We invite up David Zebrack as we turn to page 405. I'm sorry, 406. Reading is hard.
At the top of page 406. Our God and God of our ancestors,
Sanctify us with your mitzvot, and let your Torah be our way of life. Satisfy us with your goodness, gladden us with your salvation, and purify our hearts to serve you in truth.
For you alone pardons and forgives us in every generation.
We have no God but you. Blessed is our God, whose forgiving love annuls our trespasses year after year. You rule the world, you hallowed the house of Israel, the day of atonement. Adonai Eloheinu, Yomavai Yisrael. Utefillatah Yahweh Tikabel. Utehillatah Tamid. Utehillatah Tamid. Avodat Yisrael Elohecha. Baruch
Let me hear you, Lord, when I hear my spirit soaring in prayer. May I sing because I love, not afraid to waste my sweetness upon the void, but reflecting in my soul's flight, universal God who sings through me. O God of Israel's past, God of this day, God of all flesh, creator of all life, we praise you, Most High, for the gift of life. We give thanks to the source of God, that life endures. Eternal and infinite God, help us to use our life for blessing, to live by your law, to do your will, to walk in your way with a whole heart. We praise you, eternal God, for the blessing of life.
Shalom. Sing shalom, tova uvracha. Sing shalom, tova uvracha. Sing shalom, tova uvracha. Chain v'chesed, chain v'chesed, berachamim. Chain v'chesed, chain v'chesed, berachamim, berachamim. Sing shalom. Tova uvracha. Sing shalom, tova uvracha. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Amecha. Sing shalom. Tova uvracha. Sing shalom, tova uvracha.
O
Source of peace, lead us to peace, a peaceful, profound, and true. Lead us to healing, to master all that drives us to war within ourselves and with others. May our deeds inscribe us in the book of life and blessing, righteousness and peace. O source of peace, bless us with peace. We turn to page 408. Please take a few moments for silent meditation. we rule, amen. Yahaseh Shalom, Yahaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Yahweh Yisrael. 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 May the one whose presence dwells in this house cause love and harmony, peace and friendship to dwell among us now and always. Please rise. Blessed Lord, the ever-living God, and render praise unto God, who spread the heavens and established the earth. Whose glory is revealed in the heavens above, and whose greatness is manifest throughout the world. Adonai is our God, there is none else. V'anachnu korim u'mishtachavim u'modim Lifnei Melech Malchei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
In truth, God alone is our King, as it is written. Know them this day and take it to heart. The Lord is God in the heavens above and on the earth below. There is none else.
Please be seated.
We are now into the upward dot, which is the longest part of our afternoon service, which tells us the entire story of our life as Jews from creation to throughout history, because it actually goes through the Holocaust. Author of life, in the beginning you formed the universe and established the earth. Beholding chaos, seeing the darkness that lay upon the face of the deep, you brought forth brightness to dispel the gloom. Creation danced as clay took on your image. How can dust become the one whose thought is more than dust? Driven by restless yearnings, we ate of the tree of knowledge. Ever since we dreamed of your garden, a vision we fled, a vision we fly to. For even now, your pity upholds us. Growing in numbers, increasing our skills, we feel blessed by your goodness. How then can we break our bond and say to you, depart from us? In an instant, we wither without your care. Judgment follows our every deed, but you are mindful of your covenant. A sign of your blessing, the rainbow adorns the heaven. Knowledge grows, still we stray, and in pride assault those heavens. Lunar cold invades us. Many fail and fall. Nothing abides. Oh, but some who shine as stars bear witness to your love. Reshi bara Elohim, et hashamayim v'et haaretz. V'haaretz hita tohu v'vohu. V'choshet al pnei tahom. V'ruach Elohim mirakefet al pnei hamayim. Vayomer Elohim yehi or, vayehi or. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth was without form and void, and there was darkness upon the face of the depth, and the Spirit of God moved over the surface of the waters. Then God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. For countless ages, the sun flooded our planet with light, yet no eye beheld its brilliance. The wind whispered and roared, but no ear heard their soft murmurs or thundering peals.
Then God said, "Let the waters teem with swarms of living creatures, and let birds fly above the earth across the vault of heaven." And God said, "Let the earth bring forth living creatures, according to their kinds, cattle, reptiles, and land animals, according to their kinds." And it was so.
Creatures were born in the shallow waters, of one substance with earth and sea and air. But your creative word endowed them with new powers. They could feed and sustain themselves, reproduce and multiply. Some had the further gift to perceive, explore, and apprehend their world. And so by your word, the earth awoke. A flood of light burst forth to shape innumerable forms of life in an endless variety of living species. Praise Adonai, O my soul, O my Lord, my God, you are very great.
You are arrayed in glory and majesty.
You wrap yourself in light as with a garment.
You stretch out the heavens like a curtain.
The winds are your messengers.
Flames of fire, your ministers.
You cause streams to spring forth in the valleys.
They run between the mountains, giving drink to all the beasts of the field.
The birds of the air nest on their banks and sing among the leaves.
You make the moon to mark the seasons. The sun knows its time of setting.
How manifold are your works, O Lord.
In wisdom you made them all. The earth and its fullness is yours.
Every living creature has its native wisdom. The fish move and multiply in the cool waters. The birds glide through the living air. Beasts of prey go hunting without instruction. And every creature uses an inborn cunning to flee, to hide, and to defend itself and its young. But to one species more than all others, you were lavish in your gifts. Then God said, "Let them make a being in our image, after our likeness, and let it have dominion over the fish of the sea and the birds of the air, and over the cattle, over all the earth, and over every creature that crawls upon it." Thus God created us in the divine image, creating us in the image of God, creating us male and female. And God blessed us and said to us, "Be fruitful and multiply, fill the earth and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea and the birds of the air, and over every living thing that moves upon the earth." We were unlike other creatures. Not for us the tiger's claw, the elephant's thick hide, or the crocodile's scaly armor. To the gazelle we were slow of foot, to the lioness a weakling, and the eagle thought us bound to earth. But you gave us powers they could not comprehend: a skillful hand, a probing mind, a loving heart, a soul aspiring to know and to fulfill its destiny. Sovereign Lord, how majestic is your presence in all the earth.
You have stamped your glory upon the heavens.
When I consider the heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and the stars that you have established.
What are we that you are mindful of us?
What are we mortals that you care for us?
Yet you have made us little less than divine, and crowned us with glory and honor.
You gave us the power of speech, that magic gift by which each soul, unique and separate, yet shares its life with others. Through each individual, unaided and alone, is weak and helpless. Your gift of love brings us strength, not by might nor by power, but by your spirit. The thirst for knowledge, the urge to create, the passion for justice. This will, the will to give love and loyalty. Sometimes we have lived at peace with one another, but all too often we are deaf to the divine wisdom within us, preferring the law of the jungle, preferring war to peace, preferring evil to good. And the Lord saw that our wickedness on earth was great, and that the heart was ever bent on evil. How long shall the curse of Cain continue to haunt the human race? How long shall Abel's blood, the innocent blood, cruelly shed in ceaseless conflict, plead all unheeded that we are kin, and every one the keeper of the other? Cannot those whose mind and will have brought them to the moon do equal wonders on their native soil?
Though their deeds are stained with blood, this we know. You have set in the inmost sanctuary of our being your law of justice, love, and peace. The flame which burns upon that altar may flicker, but it can never be quenched. For that flame is your eternal spirit burning within us.
Long ago, but we remember it well, you inspired a people, the house of Israel, to recognize that flame and minister to it as a kingdom of priests and a holy people. This was the meaning and message of their existence, the calling of those who gave up home and heart to found a people pledged to do your will. Vayomer Adonai el Abraham, Lech lecha. Then the Lord said to Abram, go forth from your country and your birthplace and your ancestral home to the land that I will show you, and I will make of you a great people. I will bless you and make your name great, and you shall be a blessing. Though you shall all the families of the earth be blessed.
Let me run to a land that I will show you. Let me come to a place you do not know. Let me love on returning I will bless you, and you shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. Let me love. Let me love, and I shall make your name great. Let the high and all shall praise your name. Let me love to the place that I will show you. Listen, 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 let me love. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. Let me love.
Many generations later, at the top of page 418. Many generations later, redeemed from slavery, Abraham's descendants stood at Mount Sinai. The ancient promise was to be confirmed. the ancient mandate reasserted and enlarged, the ancient covenant renewed and sealed to bind all future generations.
Will God reveal to Noah, no bird chirped, no fowl beat its wings, no ox bellowed, the angels did not sing, the sea did not stir, no creature uttered a sound. The world was silent and still, and the divine voice spoke, I, the eternal, am your God.
אנוכי אדוני אלוהיך, אשר הוצאתך מארץ מצרים, מבית עבדים.
I, the Eternal, am your God, who led you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage.
לא יהיה לך אלוהים אחרים על פניי.
You shall have no other gods but me.
לא תישא את שם אדוני אלוהיך לשווא.
You shall not invoke the name of your eternal God with malice.
זכור את יום השבת לקדשו.
Remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy.
כבד את אביך ואת אמך.
Honor your father and mother.
לא תרצח.
You shall not murder.
לא תגנוב.
You shall not commit adultery.
לא תגנוב.
You shall not steal.
לא תענה בריח עד שחר.
You shall not bear false witness against your neighbor.
לא תחמוד.
You shall not covet.
Thus pledged to play a redemptive role in the world's unfolding destiny, Israel journeyed on from Sinai and reached the promised land, and the land they loved, and which seemed to love them in return. On one of its mountains they built a city, Jerusalem, and on top of the mountain a temple, symbol of the splendor of Israel's God. But no city is eternal. No temple stands forever. Centuries passed. Israel stumbled and fell. The city was stormed. The temple burned to ashes. The flower of the nation carried captive to the conqueror's land. By the waters of Babylon they sat and wept, remembering Jerusalem. How shall we sing the Lord's song in a foreign land? But the Lord had not deserted him. Restoration was at hand. Take comfort, my people, says your God. Speak tenderly to Jerusalem. Proclaim to her that her bondage is ended, her iniquity pardoned, and that she has received from the Lord's hand ample punishment for all her sins. A voice proclaims, build a road for the Lord through the wilderness, clear a highway in the desert for our God. Every valley shall be exalted, every mountain and hill made low. The uneven ground shall be made level, the rough places a plain. The glory of God shall be revealed and united. All shall see it, for the mouth of the Lord has spoken. How like a dream it was, but far more real. The exiles returned to Jerusalem. They laughed for joy. The Lord had done great things for them, and with full heart they dedicated a new temple to the Eternal One, Creator and Sustainer of all being. Here, the ancient forms of worship were resumed, and the new ones evolved. Chief among them, the Day of Atonement. The ritual begins at dawn. Great crowds converge from far and near upon the temple, until its courts are filled to overflowing with priests and Levites, men and women, young and old. The high priest has prepared himself for 7 days. How can he intercede for others if he is impure himself? All night he has rehearsed this sacred ritual, robed in gold. He burns the incense, offers the sacrifices, dispatches a goat into the wilderness, the goat a symbol of the people's longing to be rid of sin. How splendid he looks in his glittering array. How heavy is his responsibility as alone he enters the Holy of Holies. That curtained chamber, mysterious yet simple, containing nothing but a stone. But engraved on that stone are God's 10 words. How glorious he is when he comes from behind the veil of the shrine. 3 times the white-robed high priest recites a confession of sins, first for himself and for his family.
Adonai, שחטאתי, שחטאתי, ושעוויתי, ושעוויתי, ושפשעתי לפניך, אני ובאתי. כתוב, כי ביום הזה אכבד עליכם לטהרתכם, מכל חטאותיכם לפני אדוני תתעוררו. Eternal God, pardon the sins, iniquities, and transgressions that I have committed before you, and I, my household, as it has been said, on this day of atonement shall be made for you, to purify you. You shall be cleansed from all your sins before your God.
So too do we confess our own sins and pray on behalf of our loved ones. Lord, let our homes be dwelling places of your presence, where love and justice are taught and practiced. May we always enter them with eager hearts, and from them go into the world with dedication and a firm resolve, faithfully to carry out the task of life.
So may we too be priests, ministering the needs of others, and making clear in the world the beauty of holiness.
Having confessed his own sins, the high priest recites a similar confession for the whole house of Aaron.
שחטאתי, שחטאתי, ושעוויתי, ושעוויתי, ושפשעתי לפניך, אני ובאתי ובני אהרון. כתוב, כי היום הזה אכבד עליכם לטהרתכם, מכל חטאותיכם לפני אדוני תתעוררו. Eternal God, pardon the sins, iniquities, and transgressions that I have committed before you, I, my household, and the sons of Aaron, as it has been said, on this day atonement shall be made for you, to purify you. You shall be cleansed from all your sins before your God.
Like the high priest of old, may Israel's teachers today bear themselves humbly and be watchful of their responsibility. May their lives in the sight of God testify to the truth they proclaim to the people. Grant them wisdom and strength, O God, to sing your word with earnestness and zeal, and thus awaken in the hearts of your people devotion to your cause and confidence in their mission. Now, the high priest, having confessed for himself and his family, and for all the priests, confesses a third time for the whole house of Israel.
Adonai, Afernoon, l'chaim lavono, l'hashayim, shechatu, v'shevu, v'shepashu, lefanecha, amcha bet Yisrael, lefanecha. Bet Yisrael, Bakatu, ki bayom הזה אכבד עליכם לטהרתכם, מכל חטאותיכם לפני אדוני תתעוררו.
O Lord, pardon the sins, iniquities, and transgressions that we, your people, the house of Israel, have committed before you. As it has been said, on this day atonement shall be made for you, to purify you.
You shall be cleansed from all your sins before your God.
Keep thine eyes
When the priests and the people who stood in the temple court heard the high priest, full of reverence, utter God's holy and awesome name, they fell upon their faces and prostrated and exclaimed,
Please rise. Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto, Leolam Vaed. Blessed is God's glorious majesty forever and ever.
Please be seated. Some have strayed from their ancestral faith and broken the chain of tradition.
Some
have despised their birthright and treated their heritage with contempt. Some have dishonored the Sabbath and desecrated the festival days.
Some are deaf to the music of mitzvot, and they shut their eyes to the beauty of holiness.
Some have made idols of professional advancement, social status, and material reward.
Some, while pretending to love humanity, have withheld their own people the love they deserve.
Some have forgotten that Judaism calls us to love and to serve others.
Some by their wrong actions or by their failure to act have brought dishonor upon our people.
In our communal life, needless conflict and groundless hatred destroy the unity of Israel.
And in the name of unity, we sometimes disregard the greater virtue of integrity.
Self-seeking leaves little room for self-sacrifice.
And our high-sounding words are rarely translated into actions.
For all these sins, we ask forgiveness and pray that the house of Israel, purified, reconciled, and reconsecrated, may again become worthy to stand in your presence and to be the messenger of your word, O Lord our God, God most high. The second temple, like the first, came to an end, and all its splendid rites, including those of Yom Kippur, became a wistful memory. But when it fell, the synagogue, house of the people's assembly, took its place. No sacrifices were offered here. Here, Israel's people met to study the word of God, so that the law taught by Moses and the prophets became the heritage of the congregation of Jacob, together chanting prayer and praise to their divine creator, bringing to God, instead of burnt offerings, the offerings of their lips and the service of their hearts, together seeking atonement through repentance, prayer, and charity. Here in the synagogues, our people found the presence of God and the guidance they needed to hallow their lives, and they entered them and they sang.
We turn to page 429.
God's witnesses, God's servants, generation after generation, in times of darkness as in times of light, we have heard the divine word. You shall be to me a people of priests and a holy nation. We have felt the joy of being God's servants. We have also felt the pain, for it has been our destiny to be God's suffering servants.
and so did we appear to the nations. They had no outward grace to attract the eye, no beauty to win the heart.
They were despised and rejected, a people of pains and acquainted with grief.
As one from whom all turned their face, so were they despised, and we held them of no account.
Yet it was our suffering they bore, our pains they endured, and we supposed them punished by God, afflicted.
All the while they were wounded by our misdeeds, crushed by our sins.
They were oppressed, they were afflicted, yet they never said a word.
Like lambs led to the slaughterer, like sheep standing dumb before their shearers, they never uttered a cry.
By violence and injustice were they carried off.
Who cared about their fate when they were cut off from the land of the living?
They were given graves among the wicked, a tomb among the base, though they had done no wrong, practiced no deception.
The earth's crust is soaked with the tears of the innocent. The blood of every race cries out from the ground, which is the people without its martyrs.
Now, therefore, we honor these of every race and continent, the innocent, the victims, all our companions in death and our partners in grief. Them we honor, them we mourn. May they never be forgotten. May a better world grow out of their suffering.
And especially do we remember the suffering of the house of Israel, a people of pains and acquainted with grief.
Look and remember, look upon this land, far, far across the factories and the grass. Surely there, surely they will let you pass. Speak then and ask the forest and the loam. What do you hear? What does the land command? The earth is shaken. This is not your home.
Days and years of peace, these two have been our lot. Grandeur, greatness, quiet ages, domestic joys, times when fear might almost be forgotten. Yet again and again our peace has been shattered, our land upsurged, our dwelling razed. The mind grows numb and the heart turns to stone to see our long travail. Our foes were not content to give us pain. The dream was darker still. A world without Jews, a world that would forget our very name. We cannot forget this or be indifferent to its meaning. We shall remember. These things I
Remember, through all the years, ignorance like a monster has devoured our martyrs, as in one long day of blood. Rulers have arisen through endless years, oppressive, savage in their witless power, filled with a futile thought, to make an end of that which God has cherished.
I have taken an oath to remember it all, to remember, to forget nothing at all, forgetting nothing of this, till the 10th generation, till the grief disappears, to the last, to its ending, till the punishing blows are ended for good. I swear this night of terror shall not have passed in vain. I swear this morning I'll not live unchanged, as if I were no wiser even now, even now. Page 436, please. Eternal God, we have testified to your presence in heaven and earth, but in our day your presence has been an absence. Your call a silence. Long ago it was written in your name, if you are my witness, I am your God, and if you are not my witness, I am not your God. I am not God. We have struggled to live for you and see what our fate has been. Is not your fate bound up with ours? How can your presence abide in a world where murder rules?
Without peace, there is no Jewish God.
If we leave this world, the light will go out in your tent. Since Abraham knew you in a cloud, you have burned in every Jewish face. You have glowed in every Jewish eye, and we made you in our image.
Now the lifeless skulls add up to millions. The stars are going out around you. The memory of you is dimming. Your reign will soon be over. Jewish seed and flower are embers. Dew cries in the dead grass. The Jewish dream and reality are ravished. They die together. Your witnesses are sleeping. Infants, women, young men, old, even the 36. Your saints, pillars of your world, have fallen into a dead and everlasting sleep.
Who will dream you? Who will remember you? Who deny you? Who yearn for you? Who on a lonely bridge will leave you in order to return?
Silence. Where in this holocaust is the word of God? Now in the storm, nor in the shaking earth, nor in the fire, but only within us. The world was silent. The world was still. And now survivors stammer. Their words are haunted. Behind their words, silence. Behind the silence, a witness to the sin of silence. What pains were taken to save cathedrals, museums, monuments from destruction. Treasures of art must be preserved. They are the song of the human soul. And in the camps and streets of Europe, mother and father and child lay dying, and many looked away. To look away from evil, is this not the sin of all good people? Out of the depths I call to you, O God, eternal God, hearken to my voice.
For the sin of silence, for the sin of indifference, for the secret complicity of the neutral, for the closing of borders, for the washing of hands, for the crime of indifference, for the sin of silence, for the closing of borders, for all that was done, for all that was not done. Let there be no forgetfulness before the throne of glory. Let there be remembrance within the human heart, and let there be at last forgiveness when your children, O God, are free and at peace.
And yet, even in the inferno, even there were those we call
Hasidei Olam.
the righteous of the nations. Some gave their very lives to keep Jews from harm. Who can measure such courage? When so many were afraid to act, they bore witness to the greatness men and women can reach. Look and take heart. If ever such days return, remember them and find courage. Consider what can be done, what must be done, not to banish from our souls the image of God.
Let the righteous who are faithful
Faithful be remembered for good. By their deeds they have inscribed themselves in the book of life. Ernst Glick, poet and partisan, was born in Vilna in 1920. During the German occupation while confined to the concentration camp, he wrote several poems which won him a prize from the Vilna ghetto. In 1943, all the Jews in Vaca were brought to the Vilna ghetto and Glick joined the partisans. At that time, inspired by the Warsaw Ghetto uprising, he wrote this song. It was immediately chosen as the official hymn of the Jewish underground partisan brigades. When the ghetto was liquidated, Glick was caught by the Gestapo and sent to a concentration camp in Estonia. During the Red Army's offensive in the Baltic area, Glick escaped from the camp to nearby woods, where he died fighting the Germans. So nicht käme, als du gehst den letzten Weg. Verschieben im kleinen Faschen nie neue Tag. Kühlen wird noch uns der euch gewenkte Show. Es wird apportet uns und wir sehen da. Kühlen wird noch uns der euch gewenkte Show. Es wird anlocken, weil uns das Müllen da. Für grün im Palmenland mit gleitenden Schnee. Wir kühlen und mit uns der Klein, mit uns der Weg. Und für den Fallen ist so spritz für uns der Blut. So Christen Gott in uns der Feuer uns der Blut. Für den Fallen ist so spritz für uns der Blut. So Christen Gott in uns der Feuer uns der Blut. Es wird die Morgen verkehlen, du uns hängt. Unsere Nächte fängt, Feuchen miese fängt. Nun und Wurzeln bediensten unser Chor. Wir Parols, du gehst, du liedst, du fährst, du floht dort. Nun und Wurzeln bediensten unser Chor. Wir Parols, du gehst, du läufst von Tor zu Tor. Okay, we turn to page 442.
After the suffering, we rose up, refusing to die. We rose to tend the wounded and comfort the bereaved, to strengthen old communities and establish new ones, to open new synagogues, to build new schools. And we began to write a new chapter of our old book, continuing the story of Israel, the eternal people.
Lord God, teach us to do and hear the command that rests upon us now, to honor the memory of the slain, to bring back our people to life, to bear witness before the world to your glory and to the goodness of life.
In one land, especially, we glimpsed the ray of a new dawn, the land of Zion, made ready for inhabitation by generations of pioneers. The great day came, Israel independent at last, the millennial dream, a dream no more, drawn by its brightness, Her children flocked to Israel from distant lands of despair and found hope. Though bent in mourning, they plowed the earth deep, so that the grain would grow tall. And as they restored the land to its fruitfulness, they began themselves to be restored. Israel lives, a people at home again, rooted in its soil, its way of life, its ancient faith. Continue on the top of page 444. 444. And the ransom of the Lord shall return and come to Zion with singing, with everlasting joy as their crown.
Joy and gladness shall be theirs, suffering sorrow shall take flight.
In days to come, Jacob shall take root, Israel shall blossom and bud, and fill the world with fruit.
For God has comforted Zion, and shown compassion for her afflicted.
Jerusalem is the joy of all the world, but the whole earth is yours, Lord, and all who dwell there are your children. Whenever we seek you, we may find you. Whenever we ponder your teachings, Torah makes its home. Wherever we do justly and love mercy, your presence abides. In the four corners of earth, we, your people, are called to witness to the light of the eternal, to a teaching of compassion, to the vision of redemption.
It is too small a task for you to be my servant, merely to preserve the tribes of Jacob and to restore the survivors of Israel. I'll make you a light to the nations, that my salvation may reach the ends of the earth.
Sing, O heavens, exalt, O earth, break out in song, you hills.
O God, you have comforted our people and shown compassion for the afflicted.
The storm will end and a rain will fall. A quiet meadow wind stir into being.
And over a dead tree trunk, a waking bluebell with tongue of dew will carol in the morning.
Today, let us remember the first oppressed. Let us restore their human heritage. To the victim of torture, the weak and the weary, all who are imprisoned without cause, let us remember them. Bring peace to every home and comfort to every heart. We know the wisdom by which you would have us live. Oceans of ink have been spilled to say, be faithful, be true, love one another as you love yourself. But the world is dark, Lord, and cold with fear and rage. The hammer of chaos beats loudly within our breasts. How can we endure?
This is the vision of a great and noble life, to endure ambiguity and to make light shine through it, to stand fast in uncertainty, to prove capable of unlimited love and hope.
Lord, today we turn to you, uncertainly proclaiming your glory. With scarce remembered words of a half-forgotten faith, we have confessed our sins and promised to forsake them. Oh, find us as we grope for you in our darkness. Lord, pardon us as we knock upon your door, for it has been said, the gates of repentance are never barred, and it has been taught, we know our sin is pardoned when we no longer commit it.
Make us whole, make us one with our own hearts, make us one with each other, at last to find ourselves at one with you, our friend, our helper, and our joy.
Use us, Lord, to speed the day of reconciliation when poverty, racial prejudice, and religious hatred no longer threatens to destroy us.
When violence, angry conflict, and mistrust are forgotten evils.
When our wealth is used to feed the hungry and heal the sick.
When we cherish the world and hold it in trust for our children's children.
When the weak become strong and the strong compassionate.
And that which has been commanded shall come to pass. Let justice roll down like waters, and righteousness like a mighty stream.
Our God and God of our ancestors, may you rule in glory over all the earth, and let your grandeur be acclaimed throughout the world. Reveal the splendor of your majesty to all who dwell on earth, that all your works may know you as their maker, and all living acknowledge you as their creator. Then all who breathe shall say, The sovereign God of Israel is the one whose dominion is the words to all the world can be found on the following page. All the world shall come to serve you, and bless your glorious name, and your righteousness triumphant, the island shall proclaim. And the people shall go seeking, they who knew you not before, and the ends of earth shall praise you, and will tell your greatness for. They shall build for you their altars, idols overthrown, and their graven gods shall shame them as they turn to you alone. They shall worship you at sunrise, and feel your kingdom's might, and impart their understanding to those astray in night. With the coming of your victory, the hills shall shout this song, and the islands laugh exultant that they too have belong. And through all your congregations, so loud your praise shall ring, that the utmost peoples hearing shall hail you crowned King.
Page 450, Persedakarith HaTorah. It shall come to pass in the fullness of time that the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established as the highest mountain, and raised above the hills, and all nations shall flow to it. Then many peoples shall say, come, let us go to the mountain of the eternal, to the house of the God of Jacob. And they shall say,
Teach us your ways, that we may walk in your paths. Please rise. Please remain standing.
Because our tradition is the first aliyah is for the congregation. Yamdu Allah Torah Hakahil Beit Chaim. Baruch hu et Adonai HaBorah, Baruch Adonai HaBorah Le'olam Va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bacharani mikol ha'amim, lenatan lanu et Torato, Baruch atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Adabar Adonai El Moshe. And more, thank you. The bear. Kol Adab B'nai Yisrael. Amarta Abraham Kedoshim Ha'avar Ki Kadosh Ani Adonai Elohechem. Ishimo Ba'avar Anitim Jerusalem Tatar Haslev Taru Ani Adonai Elohechem. Av Altif Nu Et Halim Bavar Mosecha Kolcha Yaser Bachem Ani Adonai Elohechem. B'kol Hasadim.
Yep, that's in it. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "Speak to the whole community of Israel, and say to them, You shall be holy, for I, the Lord your God, am holy. Revere your mother and your father, each of you. Keep my Sabbaths. I, the Lord, am your God. Do not turn to idols and make for yourselves molten gods. I, the Lord, am your God." Okay. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah te'emet, v'chaye olam atah b'tocheinu. Baruch atah Adonai Noten HaTorah. Yamdu la Torah, Anon Shemon ben Zalmud, and Vira Elaza bat Rivka.
Third.
Oh, you're second. There's only three.
I'm not second. Third.
No,
I said I was second.
no, I think we're only having three.
That's okay.
Okay, it's okay. All right. This is where it skips.
Baruch atah Adonai Ela Amaruach. Baruch Adonai Habaruch Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bo korbanon mikol ha'amim, v'talonu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
ובקטרקם את קצירתכם לא תקלל, פאצקה לקצור ולקט קצרך לא תלקט, וכרמך לא תלולל, ופרץ כרמך לא תלקט, לא אני ולגר תעזותם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם. לא תגנבו ולא תכחשו ולא תשקרו איש בעמיתו, ולא תשבו בשמי לשקר והיללת את שם אלוהיך, אני אדוני. לא תעסוק את רעך ולא תגזול, לא תעלים פלולת סכיר את כעד בוקר, לא תקלל הרש ולבני עיוור, לא תיתן מכשול ויראת מאלוהיך, אני אדוני. לא תעשו עוול במשפט, לא תישא פני דל, ולא תדע פני גדול, בצדק תשפוט עמיתך, לא תלך רכיל במכה, לא תעמוד על דברך, אני אדוני. לא תשנא את אחיך בלבבך, תוהיח את עמיתך, ולא תישא עליו חטא. לא תיקום ולא תישא את בני עמך, ואהבת לרעך כמוך, אני אדוני.
When you reap the harvest of your land, do not reap the corners of your field. Do not glean the fallen ears of your crop, nor may you strip your vineyard bare, nor gather the overlooked grapes. You must leave them for the poor and the stranger. I, the Lord, am your God. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu naton amet v'ka'olim natan b'tach. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Do Torah Daniel ben Avraham v'Sarah. We skip as it goes to we skip to 32. So yeah, we skip. Anyone to
Now I'm gonna find it again. Baruch Adonai Hamborach. Baruch Adonai Hamborach Olam Ba'ed. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Bachar banu mכל העמים ונתן לנו את תורתו. Baruch Ata Adonai Noten HaTorah. Amen. מפני שבע תקום. אמן. מפני שבע תקום, והרבעת פני זקן, וראית מאלוהיך, ויראית מאלוהיך, אני אדוני. וכי יגור איתך גר בארצכם, לא תונו אותו כאזרח מכם, יהיה לכם, הגר הגר איתכם, ואהבת לו כמוך, כי גרים הייתם בארץ מצרים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם. לא תעשו עוול במשפט, במידה, במשקל ובמסורה, באוזני צדק, אבני צדק, אפת צדק, והין צדק יהיה לכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, ושמרתם את כל חוקותיי ואת כל משפטיי, ועשיתם אותם, אני אדוני. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת וחיי העולם נטע בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה. Amen. Was I supposed to read it first? Oh. You shall rise in the presence of the aged and show respect for the old. You shall revere your God. I am the eternal one. When strangers live with you in your land, you must not oppress them. The strangers who live with you shall be to you like citizens, and you shall love them as yourself. For you were strangers in the land of Egypt. I, the Eternal One, am your God. Do not pervert justice when you measure length, weight, or quantity. You must have honest scales, honest weights, honest dry and liquid measures. I, the Eternal, am your God, who led you out of the land of Egypt. You shall observe all my statutes and precepts and do them. I am the Eternal One.
Please rise.
I was wondering where he was going.
Ezot Torah, Asher Moshe, Lifnei Bnei Yisrael, Bi Adonai, Le'ad Moshe. Torah, 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 Tzivah Lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 Tzivah Lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 Tzivah Lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 Tzivah Lanu Moshe. Please be seated.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar b'bnim tovim, v'ratzah b'divreihem v'nehamarim b'emet. Baruch atah Adonai habocher b'torah, u'Moshe avdo, u'Yisrael amo, u'b'nbiei ha'emet v'tzedek.
Sorry.
The word of the Eternal came to Jonah, son of Amittai. Go at once to Nineveh, that great city, and proclaim judgment upon it, for their wickedness has come before me.
Here on page 457.
457, down at the bottom. Jonah started out, however, to flee to Tarshish from the service of the Eternal. He went down to Joppa and found a ship going to Tarshish. He paid the fare and went aboard to sail with the others to Tarshish, away from the service of the Eternal. But the Eternal cast a mighty wind upon the sea, and such tempests came upon the sea that the ship seemed likely to break up. In their fright, the sailors cried out, each to his own god, and they flung the cargo overboard to make the ship lighter. Meanwhile, Jonah had gone into the hold of the vessel, where he lay down and fell asleep. The captain went over to him and cried out, how can you be sleeping so soundly? Up, call to your God. Perhaps the God will be kind to us, and we will not perish. The men said to one another, let us cast lots and find out whose account this disaster has come upon us. So they cast lots, and then Lot fell on Jonah. They said to him, tell us, you who have brought us this disaster, what is your business? Where do you come from? What is your country? And And of what people are you? I am a Hebrew, he replied. I worship the Eternal, the God of the heaven, who made both the sea and dry land. The men were greatly terrified, and they asked him, what have you done? When the men learned that he was fleeing from the servant of the Eternal, or so he told them, they said to him, what must we do to make the sea calm around us? For the sea was growing more and more stormy. He answered, heave me overboard, and the surrounding sea will quiet down. For I know that this terrible storm came upon you on my account. Nevertheless, the men rowed hard to regain the shore. They could not. The sea was growing more and more stormy around them. Before throwing him overboard, they cried out to the Eternal, please do not let us perish on account of this man. Do not compel us to kill an innocent person. For you, O Eternal, by your will, have brought this about. And they heaved Jonah overboard, and the sea stopped raging. Then the men were greatly in awe of the Eternal. They offered a sacrifice to the Eternal, and they made vows. Then the Eternal ordained that a huge fish swallow Jonah. And Jonah remained in the fish's belly 3 days and 3 nights. Then the Eternal ordered the fish to spew Jonah out upon the dry land. The word of the Eternal came to Jonah a second time. Go at once to Nineveh, that great city, and proclaim to it what I tell you. Jonah went at once to Nineveh in accordance with the word of the Eternal. Nineveh was an enormously large city, even on a divine scale, a 3-day walk across. Jonah started out and made his way into this city the distance of 1 day's walk, and proclaimed, 40 days more, and Nineveh shall be overthrown. Then the people of Nineveh believed God. They proclaimed a fast, and all alike, great and small, put on sackcloth. When the news reached the king of Nineveh, he rose from his throne, took off his robe, put on sackcloth, and sat in ashes. And he had the word cried through Nineveh, by decree of the king and his nobles, neither human nor beast shall taste anything. They shall not graze, and they shall not drink water. Let them be covered with sackcloth, human and beast, and cry mightily to God. Let all turn back from their evil ways and from the injustice of which they were guilty. Who knows but that God may turn back and relent, so that we do not perish. When God saw what they were doing, how they were turning back from their evil ways, God renounced the punishment planned for them and did not carry it out. This displeased Jonah greatly. He was incensed. He prayed to the Eternal, saying, Eternal One, isn't this just what I said when I was still in my own country? This is why I fled beforehand to Tarshish. For I know what you are, a compassionate and gracious God, endlessly patient, abounding in love, renouncing punishment. Take my life then, for I would rather die than live to see this. The Eternal One replied, is it right that you are angry? Now Jonah had left the city and found a place east of the city. He made a booth there and sat under it in the shade until he should see what happened to the city. The Eternal God provided a gourd, which grew up over Jonah, to provide shade for his head and save him from discovery. Jonas was very happy with the plan, but the next day at dawn, God provided a worm, which attacked the plant so that it withered. And when the sun rose, God provided a scorching east wind. The sun beat down on Jonah's head, and he became faint. He begged for death, saying, I would rather die than live. And God said to Jonah, is it right that you are angry about the plan? I am so angry that I want to die, he replied. Then the Eternal said, you care about the plan, yet you did not work on it or cultivate it. It appeared overnight and perished overnight. Should I not care about the Nineveh, that great city, for which there are more than 120,000 persons who do not yet know their right hand from their left, and also much cattle?
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, sur kol ha'olamim, tzadik v'kol hadorot, ha'el ha'ne'eman, ha'omer v'oseh, v'ham daber umchaye, shekol devara emet v'tzedek, al haTorah, al ha'avodah, al hanvi'im, al Yom HaKippurim hazeh, shenatan lanu Adonai Eloheinu, l'chila v'lisimcha l'chapar l'chavod u'tifarat al kol Adonai Eloheinu, אנחנו מודים לך ומברכים אותך. יתברך שמך לפי כל חי תמיד לעולם ועד. ודברך אמת וחיים לעד. ברוך אתה אדוני מלך מלך סולח לעוונותינו ולעוונות עמו בית ישראל ומעביר באשמותינו בכל שנה ושנה מלך על כל הארץ מקדש ישראל ביום הכיפורים.
We rise as we turn to page 468 to return the Torah to the other. Dwell, Eternal One, among your people. Let your spirit abide within your house. Let every human being acknowledge the splendor of your kingdom and its glory. Happy is the one who finds wisdom, the one who gains understanding, for its fruits are better than silver. It yields than fine gold. It is more precious than rubies. No treasure can match it. Es Please be seated. I'd like to invite Mark Manis up for page 469.
Lord, your earth yields enough to satisfy the needs of every living creature. A human greed thwarts your proposed purpose, and countless of your children go hungry and naked. Great plenty and abject poverty, unrestrained power, and utter helplessness exist side by side. We are taught that all people are your children, wherever they believe, whatever their shade of skin. You have ordained one law for rich and poor, one law for woman, child, and man. And we today, like those who came before us, are summoned to right the ancient wrongs of obedience of your holy word.
Justice, justice shall you pursue, that you may live. Do good, not evil, that you may live.
We often forget. Pride of possession, greed of for worth, fear of losing of what we have. Those blind us that we forget. We who are strangers and slaves. We who have felt the sting of injustice, terror of exile, the torment of inquisition. We who feel them still. How can we forget? On this day of self-examination, O God, teach us to search our ways and to acknowledge that we have not been sufficient mindful of our neighbors. We confess that in trying to keep what we have, we give too little thought to those who need us.
Inspire us, O God, to recognize and to help those men and women of vision who see the needs of others and try to assist them. May we in our daily pursuits help to better the world through generous sympathy and personal sacrifice.
As I look into the recesses of my heart on this day of days, I am reminded that this state of the sacred obligation that have been placed upon me as a member of the congregation in the house of Israel. I recall how parents and teachers and friends impressed upon me the beauty of holiness. I am pledged to discharge my duties now as I aspire toward maturity of mind and heart. May I not be heedless of my faith, nor neglectful of my responsibilities. Grant me a firmness of purpose, and a loyal disposition that I may not never shirk my task, nor fail in the house hour of testing. May I stand ready to assume my share uh, uh, of the duties of the congregation and the communities of which I am a part. To uphold the hands of those who are giving of themselves to serve humanity, and increasingly to understand my own life as an opportunity to service. Grant that may my daily life demonstrated the sincerity of my profession toward the poor and the needy, toward the bearers of burdens and the sad of heart, toward those who lead and those who follow, toward those of vision and insight, toward every Jew, toward every person. May I so act as to merit their approval and your blessing.
Amen.
As we look upon our deeds in the light of Torah, we see that affliction of the body and fasting alone cannot cleanse the soul of sin and relieve the conscience of its weight of guilt, but those are the true means of atonement.
Let justice well up as waters, and righteousness as a mighty stream.
Show compassion, each one of you, to every person. Do not oppress the stranger, the orphan, and the widow. Do not plan evil against your neighbor. Speak the truth of your neighbor. Render judgment that are true and that make for peace within your city.
Do justly, and love mercy, and walk humbly before your God.
O God, grant that we may hearken to the solemn admiration and abominations of the Sabbath of Sabbaths in true contrition and humility. Help us to fulfill the obligation to the needy and distressed. Incline our hearts to compassion, that we may aid the poor, the homeless, and the suffering. Help us to be as parents to the needy, eyes to the blind, and feet to the lame. Teach us to be generous in our support of all good works. Bless all who labor unselfishly for the welfare and happiness of their brothers and sisters. On this day of repentance, we return to you with chastened hearts. Receive us with favor, O God, our rock and our help.
Amen. This concludes our afternoon service. Our Yitzhak service will begin in about 5 minutes. So if it's your custom not to be present for that service, we ask that you quietly make your way out. We will not be admitting late worshipers to that service, but we'll be readmitting at the conclusion of the Yitzhak service.
Our tradition shows great wisdom in teaching us to gather for services of remembrance on Yom Kippur and on the three pilgrimage festivals, Pesach, Shavuot, and Sukkot. These moments that mark the seasons of the year and the seasons of our lives awaken strong memories of relationships that have shaped us, sustained us, and sometimes challenged us, and of the holy days we shared with loved ones and cherished friends. When they are gone, we can still affirm the beautiful and lasting values we learned from them and remember them in all their humanness. One of the ways we do that is by coming together as a community of comfort and care. From its inception 1,000 years ago, when it was prayed by Ashkenazic Jews on the morning of Yom Kippur, Yizkor has had two profound themes: God's embrace of the loved ones who are beyond our reach, and our commitment to do the good deeds that are within our reach by giving tzedakah in their memory. When we say Yizkor, may God remember, we proclaim our faith that those who have died have significance now and forever. This is the hour of memory, and this is our house of comfort. Wounded by loss, we retreat from life. Our synagogue gathers us in. Into this place, we bring stories and prayers, unanswered questions, tears that need to be shed, lives recollected and carried within us, moments of courage and laughter and pain. This day embraces them all. This place embraces us all. Now the heart opens in sorrow, for we are time's subjects, and all that we love we must lose. So let us hold fast to the love that remains, and cherish the light of the sun. Today, all of us walk the mourner's path. Together, may we find strength. Lord, I yearn only to be near you, though at times I seem remote. Lord, I cannot find the way unaided. Teach me the faithful service you would have me do. Show me your way. Guide me. Lead me. Release me from the prison of unknowing, while I still can make amends. Do not despise my lowly state, before I grow so weak, so heavy with mortality, that I bend and fall, and my bones, brittle with age, become food for moth and worm. Be my help, oh, be my help. Where my forebears went, there I go. Yes, I know, their resting place is mine. I know it. Like them, I am a stranger passing through this life. Since the womb of earth is my allotted portion, and since I have chased the wind from the beginning of my days, when will I come to set my house in order? The passion you yourself have made a part of me has kept me wrapped within the passing scene. And how, enslaved to passion as I have been, a prey to fierce and fiery hungers, how, I ask, could I have served you as I needed to? But now the time has come. Why all this ambition? Why the quest for high estate? When tomorrow I must die? Why this expensive spirit? When tomorrow I mourn the passing time? These days and nights combine to bring me to the end. They scatter my thought to the wind. They return my frame to the dust. What now can I say in my defense? What brave words remain to shield me from my truth? My nature has pursued me, possessed me, driven and flayed me, a doubtful friend from childhood on. One, what then do I do really have besides your presence? Stripped of my pretensions, naked at the last, here I am, and only your goodness can clothe and shelter me. For nothing now remains but this. Lord, I yearn only to be near you. O God, you are my God. At first light I seek you.
My soul thirsts for you, my flesh longs for you, as in a dry and weary land where there is no water.
So do I look for you in the sanctuary, to behold your power and your glory. Your love is better than life. My lips will extol you.
And I will praise you with my life, for you have been my help. In the shadow of your wings I sing for joy.
Lord of all worlds, how insignificant we are in your sight, and how minute in your presence. You are creator of a universe so vast that the effort to conceive it overwhelms the mind. The keenest eye scans but a corner of it. The rays of light we see today began their journey long before we came to be. Counted from the first creation, the earth we live on was born but yesterday, and we made our appearance on it only a moment ago.
When I consider your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and the stars that you have established. What are we that you are mindful of us? What are we mortals that you consider us?
We are feeble, we live always on the brink of death. Scarcely ushered into life, we begin our journey to the grave. Our best laid plans are ever at risk. Our fondest hopes are buried within us. Ambition drives us on to high exertion. Indulgences make us waste the power we have, and evil seduces us to heap misery upon others. Success and failure, love and hatred, pleasure and pain mark our days from birth to death. We prevail only to succumb. We fail only to renew the struggle.
Our days are few and full of trouble.
The eye is never satisfied with seeing. Endless are the desires of the heart. We devise new schemes on the graves of 1,000 disappointed hopes. Like Moses on Mount Nebo, we behold the promised land from afar, but may not enter it. Our life, at its best, is an endless effort for goal we never attain. Death finally terminates the struggle, and joy and grief, success and failure, all are ended. Like children falling asleep over their toys, we relinquish our grasp on earthly possessions only when death overtakes us. Master and servant, rich and poor, strong and feeble, wise and simple, all are equal in death. The grave levels all distinctions and makes the whole world kin. We are strangers in your sight, O God, like all who came before us. Our days on earth vanish like shadows, but the speedy flight of life and the grave that looms on the horizon should not dismay us. Rather, let them teach us wisdom and prompt us to put our trust in you. For only the dust returns to the dust. The spirit which you have breathed into us returns to you, its everlasting source. Into us you have placed a portion of your divinity. Your mighty strength is our firm support. When we become servants of your law, witnesses to your truth, champions of your kingdom, then indeed do we endow our fleeting days with abiding worth.
We are children of dust, O God. Give us strength and understanding, that we may fill our days with good. Though our days are few, help us to make them great.
I don't know, but I don't. It's what the days are then it knows that the first
author of life and death, our wisdom is small, our vision short. One by one, our companions passing along the road of life disappear from our view. We know that each must walk the same path to the doorway of the grave. We strain to see what lies beyond the gate, but all is darkness to our mortal sight.
Yet the darkness is not too dark for you, O God, but the dawn shines as the day.
You have created us in your image and made us share your enduring righteousness. You have put eternity into our hearts, have implanted within us a vision of life everlasting. This hope we cherish in humility and faith, trusting in your endless goodness and your wondrous love.
Dear man, with commitment, spirits are their wills, where you keep faith with your children, death and life.
Sustain us, O God, that we may meet with calm serenity the dark mysteries that lie ahead, knowing that when we walk through the valley of the shadow of death, you are with us, a loving friend in whom we have put our trust. You are the light of our life, our hope, and eternity.
I lift my eyes up to the mountains. What is the source of my help? My help will come from the eternal, maker of heaven and earth. God will not allow your foot to slip. Your guardian does not slumber. Behold, the guardian of Israel neither slumber nor sleeps. The eternal is your keeper. The eternal is your shade at your right hand. The sun shall not harm you by day, nor the moon by night. The eternal will guard you from all evil. God will protect your being. The eternal will guard you coming and going, from this time forth and forever.
If some messenger were to come to us with the offer that death should be overthrown, but with the one inseparable condition that birth should also cease, if the existing generation were given the chance to live forever, but on the clear understanding that never again would there be a child or a youth or a first love, never again new persons with new hopes, new ideas, new achievements, ourselves for always and never any others, could the answer be in doubt?
We shall not fear the summons of death. We shall remember those who have gone before us, and those who will come after us.
Alas, for those who cannot sing but die with their music in them, let us treasure the time we have and resolve to use it well, counting each moment precious, a chance to apprehend some truth, to experience some beauty, to conquer some evil, to relieve some suffering, to love and be loved, to achieve something of lasting worth.
Help us then to fulfill the promise that in each of us, and so to conduct ourselves that generations hence, it will be true to say of us, the world is better because for a brief space they lived in it.
Please take a moment for silent meditation.
We turn to page 487.
Let us call to mind the great and good, through whom the Lord has done wonders.
They were leaders of the people, helping many with understanding and insight.
Wise and eloquent in their teachings, they were just and loving in their deeds.
All of these were honored in their generations. They were the glory of their times.
There are some who have left a name behind them, those remembrances is as honey in the mouth.
People will declare their wisdom. All will tell of their goodness.
And there are some who have left no memorial, whose names have vanished as though they had never been.
But the goodness of their lives has not been lost, and their work cannot be blotted out.
I think continually of those who were truly great, whom from the womb remembered the soul's history, through endless corridors of light where the hours are suns, endless in singing, whose love, the ambition, was that their lips, still touched with fire, should tell of the spirit clothed from head to toe, head to foot in song, and who hoarded from the spring branches the desires falling across their bodies like blossoms. What is precious is never to forget. The delight of the blood drawn from ageless springs, breaking through rocks in worlds before our earth, never to deny its pleasure in the simple morning light, nor its grave evening demand for love, never to allow gradually the traffic to smother with noise and fog the flowering of spirit. Near the snow, near the sun, in the highest fields, see how these names are feted by the waving grass and by the streamers of white clouds and whispers of wind in the listening sky, and the names of those who in their lives fought for life, who wore at their hearts the fire's center. Born of the sun, they traveled a short while toward the sun and left the vivid air signed with their honor.
Bless the memories we cherish on this day that more than any other affords us glimpses of eternity. May the sorrows we have known be softened by our sense of your infinite wisdom, your unending love, your eternal presence.
I look out upon the far horizon. Where does it end? The line drawn by my eye is only imaginary. It will recede as I come near it. Space, like time, is continuous, and there are no sharp interruptions to differentiate one thing from another. And it is not likewise with my life. I look back into my past. I cannot tell where it began. I am familiar with some of my ancestors, but my life did not begin with them. It stretches far back into time beyond my reckoning. A long line of generations labored to produce me. The peculiarities of my walk, of my smile, may go back to one, and the bent of my mind to another. The sound of my voice may carry an echo of some unknown benefactor who passed something of himself onto me. The seed that develops in me was planted in a faraway past, and as I reap the harvest, I know that other hands made it possible. Equally long is the line of my spiritual ancestors, the love of life and the sense of kinship I feel for my fellow human beings are but simple expressions of my spirit, but human beings achieved it after groping and suffering. The first person who rubbed two stones to produce fire is my ancestor, and so is the first person who discovered the glow of friendship in the clasp of two hands. The people who explored the sea and the mountains, and who brought up the hidden riches of the earth, are my ancestors. They enriched me with the fruit of their discoveries, as well as with the spirit of their daring. I am what I am because of the first amoeba that developed into a more complex form. Impelled by the divine imperative to grow, 1,000 sunsets have shaped my sense of beauty, and 1,000 soft voices have taught me to be kind. Waters from 1,000 springs have quenched my thirst. I look out upon my world and act in it with all that is mine, with every past experience, and with everything that entered into it. As I think of the long line stretching far into the past, I also cast my glance forward. The line into the future is just as unbroken. It moves through me into generations yet unborn. And as I think of this, I am comforted, for I am a point in that line, and the course of existence travels through me. I have inherited from all the past, and I will bequeath to all the future. In the part of me, that line lies, the secret of immortality, and I am a part of it. Together, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. You make me lie down in green pastures. You lead me beside still waters. You restore my soul. You lead me in right paths for the sake of your name. Even when I walk in the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil. For you are with me. With rod and staff you comfort me. You have set a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You have anointed my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the eternal God forever. We continue on page 490. Your eternal law, their death has brought darkness to the human soul. They lie in nameless graves, in far-off forests and lonely fields, and the substance of many was scattered by the winds to the earth's four corners. Yet they shall not be forgotten. We take them into our hearts and give them a place beside the cherished memories of our own loved ones. They now are ours.
We pray to you, O source of mercy, that your Torah, which the children bore witness to life and death, may come to glory with life in one soul.
Remembering them, we may sanctify your name in all the world. Thus will their memory become an enduring blessing to all your children.
We remember with sorrow those whom death has taken from our midst during the past year,
including Lydia Levy, mother of Bob Levy, mother-in-law of Lynn Levy, Howard Mosesman, cousin of Mel Berger, Danielle Avelis, uncle of Mitch Stein, Arlene Weinstein, close friend of the Wood and Rubenstein family, Maxine and Calvin Spivak, parents of Lauren Johnson and grandparents of Hannah Johnson, Marvin Berger, cousin of Mel Berger, Madeline Roberts, aunt of Mitch Stein, Winston Burrow, close friend of the Wood and Rubenstein families.
taking these dear ones into our hearts with all our beloved, we recall them now with reverence. In the rising of the sun and in its going down, we remember them.
In the blowing of the wind and in the chill of the winter, we remember them.
In the opening buds and in the rebirth of spring, we remember them.
In the blueness of the sky and in the warmth of the summer, we remember them.
In the rustling of leaves and in the beauty of autumn, we remember them.
In the beginning of the year when it ends, we remember them.
When we are weary and in need of strength, we remember them.
When we are lost and sick at heart, we remember them.
When we have joys we yearn to share, we remember them.
So long as we live, they too shall live, for they are now a part of us as we remember them.
Take a moment for silent meditation. Please rise. Yikadam Yitadash Merabam Yama Divra Kirte Yamli Mapute
V'chayefon u'yomefon, v'chayi d'chol Beit Yisrael. Ba'agala zman kariv v'imru, amen. Yesh Shnei Rabba v'barach le'olam alamei amaya. Yitzbarach, Yishtabach, Yitzbahar, Yishraman, Yishnaseh, Yisbadar, Yishbaleh, Yishbalal, Shmei Tekusha, Breku, Le'elam, Moho, Yirmata, V'shirata, Tushkapata, V'nehemata, Damiram, Ve'ama, V'imru, amen. Odesh Shlomo Rabba, Mishamaya, V'chayim Aleinu Ve'achol Yisrael, V'imru, amen. Oseh Shalom B'Rama, Say Shalom. Alleluia. Holy Israel. V'imru. Amen.
May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved. As together we say,
Amen.
Please be seated, and we'll take this tiny break to let people in.
Yeah, we did. I did.
We continue our service on page 497.
This is the house of God. This is the gate of heaven.
Open me the gates of righteousness. I will enter them and give thanks to my God.
Listen, O Lord, when I cry out. Be gracious and answer me. You have said, seek my presence. I seek your presence within my heart. Do not hide from me.
I will enter your gates with thanksgiving, your courts with singing.
Give yourself to the Lord and enter into God's holy space. Go through the doors.
This is the gateway to the infinite. The righteous will enter it.
Lord our God, we turn now to you once more to cry out our longing and the longing of all men and women for a beginning of that wholeness we call peace. Ever and again, we now admit you have turned our backs on you and on our sisters and brothers, forsaking your law, denying your truth, ignoring your will, defacing your beauty. The intelligence you have implanted within us, we have applied to the arts of war. With the skill we have from you, we make engines of terror and pain.
We have prayed for peace, even as we laughed at truth, for blessing, but did not care to do your will, for mercy, and have shown none to others. We've prayed for impossible things, peace without justice, forgiveness without restitution, love without sacrifice.
But you, our Maker, abounding grace, so now again we turn to you to attach ourselves to your purpose, to set ourselves on the path that lead to your kingdom of peace and right, freedom and joy for Israel and all the world.
Again, as the shadows fall, we ask for forgiveness. And again, we praise you, O God, the source of peace.
We continue on page 501 at the bottom, at the top.
Yitkata Shemerava Ve'oma Divrach Yurtei Yamlik Machutei Ve'chayek Konim Yom Echad U'chayvei D'chol Beit Yisrael Ba'agala Ba'agala U'bizman Kariv V'imru Amen. Yesh Rabba Megorah, Olam Olam Me'amaya, Yitzvarach, Yitzvarach, Yishabach, Yitvahar, Yitromam, Yitnaseh, Yitzhadar, Yitzhaleh, Yitzhalah, Shemei Kedusha Berechu, Le'elam Yikol Birchata B'shirata, Tushbechata V'ne'emata, Ta'amiram Be'ama, V'Beru, Amen.
Please rise.
Adonai Sefatai Tifta, Uvi Agita Ilatecha. Eternal God, open my lips, that my mouth may declare your glory. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu Vimotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Leah, Elohei Rachel, Ha'el HaGadol, HaGibor VeHaNorah, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Mefonei Hakol, Mezocher Hastelot V'Imahot, Umevi Gula Lifnei B'Leihem, Leman Shemo Be'ahava. Zofreinu Lechayim, Melech Hafetz, V'Ha'achayim, Mekoveyu, V'Sefer HaChayim, Nefesh Ancha, Elohim Chayim. Lemanach Elohim, Lemanach Elohim Chayim, Lemanach Elohim, Lemanach Elohim Chayim. Melech Ozir Mashiach U'Magid, Baruch atah Adonai, Magid Avraham Bezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechael HaChavra Hosea, Mechael Chaim B'Chesed, Mechael HaKol B'Rachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Berofei Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayeh Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Michamocha B'Kivurot, Umidol Melach, Melech Menid, Umekayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, Michamocha Amarachamim, Zocher Yitzurah, L'chaim berachamim, L'chaim berachamim, L'ne'eman atah l'chayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, L'chayei hakol.
Eternal God, the power of your Spirit pervades all creation. When we open our hearts to you, we are filled with your strength, the strength to bear our afflictions, the strength to refuse them victory, the strength to overcome them. And then our will is renewed to lift up the fallen, to set free the captive, to heal the sick, to bring light to all who dwell in darkness. Add your strength to ours,
O God, so that when death casts its shadow, we shall yet be able to say, O source of blessing, you are with us in death as in life.
Hear now, forgive now, as the day turns to night. We praise you, the one awesome in greatness and mystery.
Mikdash Shemcha ba'olam, ki Shem Shemot Yishimot Toshirah, kachatuv al-yad nevi'echa, v'kavod ze'etzeh v'omar, Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzevaot, Melo Haaretz, Kevodo. Adir, Adirenu, Adonai, Adonenu, Adir Shemcha b'chol haaretz, Baruch Adonai, Techaru Eloheinu, U'avinu Macheinu, Moshienu, Hashienu, Neracham Eloheinu Chai, Ani Adonai Elohecha, Yimloch Adonai Leolam, Elohai Yitzion, Letorah. Hallelujah.
Kadosh Atah v'Norav Shemcha. You are holy, awesome is your name, there is no God but you. The Lord of hosts is exalted by justice. The holy God is sanctified by righteousness. Blessed is the Lord who rules in holiness. Please be seated. Our God and God of all generations, pardon our sins on this day of atonement. Sweep away our transgressions and misdeeds, that they vanish from your sight. Blessed be the Lord, the King, whose forgiving love annuls our trespasses year after year. King of all the world, you held the house of Israel and the day of atonement.
Please join me on page 505 near the bottom for it say. For it say, Adonai Eloheinu, Yahweh Yisrael, U'tefillatah me'avat kabel, U'tehil ratzon tamid, U'tehil ratzon tamid, Avodat Yisrael Alecha, Baruch atah Adonai, Shemotecha le'godecha, V'yira'necha Shemotecha le'godecha, V'yira'necha.
O Lord our God, may we, your people of Israel, be worthy in our deeds and our prayer, wherever we live, wherever we seek you, in this land, in Zion restored, in all lands. You are our God, whom alone we serve in reverence. For
The glory of life and for its wonder, we give thanks.
You are goodness, you are compassion. We give thanks to you forever.
Sing shalom, sing shalom, sing shalom, Torah u'bracha, Chaim v'chesed v'rachamim aleinu, v'yakol yeshemecha. Sim shalom, sim shalom. Baruchinu Ayinu, Kol Baruchecha ba'or panecha, Ki li'or panecha, Natan
Our God, the guide of humanity, let your spirit rule this nation and its citizens, that their deeds may be prompted by a love of justice and right, and bear fruit in goodness and peace.
Bless our people with love and righteousness.
Teach us to work for the welfare of all, to diminish the evils that beset us, and to enlarge our nation's virtues.
Bless our people with civic courage.
Bless our striving to make real the dream of your kingdom, when we shall put an end to the suffering we now afflict upon each other.
Bless our people with a vision of your sovereignty on earth.
For you have endowed us with the noble powers. Help us to use them wisely and with compassion.
Bless our people with a wise and feeling heart.
You have given us freedom to choose between good and evil, life and death. May we choose life and good, that our children may inherit from us the blessing of dignity and freedom, prosperity and peace.
Elnora Alila, Elnora Alila, Kamselanu Bebida, Shalida, Semi Parkuri, Kain Nafsi, Sadi Bebida, Shati Halila, Elnora Alila, Elnora Alila, Kamselanu Bebida, Shalida. Shopping like Dasha, Fisha, Hanselida, Shabalida, Eldora Alida, Eldora Alida, Hanselida, Bifida, Shabalida, Elehan Sidra, Hanselera, Habalida, Shabalida. Eldora Alida, Eldora Alida, Hamselanu Bifida, Shabalida. Shorty cuts freehen, the Father Shagiven, Shada Bufida, Shatanida, Eldora Alida, Eldora Alida, Hamselanu Bifida, Shatanida.
God of awesome deeds, God of awesome deeds, grant us pardon as the gates begin to close.
God, we stand in awe before your deeds.
We who are few in number look up to you with trembling. We praise you as the gates begin to close.
God, we stand in awe before your deeds.
To you we pour out our souls, blot out our sins and dishonest ways. Grant us pardon as the gates begin to close.
God, we stand in awe before your deeds.
Be our refuge and our shield, and shield us from danger. Assure us joy and honor as the gates begin to close.
God, we stand in awe before your deeds.
Be gracious to us, compassionate. Let your judgment fall on tyrants and those who make war as the gates begin to close.
God, we stand in awe before your deeds.
Remember the merits of our mothers and fathers. Renew in us their spirit and faith as the gates begin to close.
God, we stand in awe before your deeds.
Proclaim a year of favor. Return the remnant of your flock to honor and glory as the gates begin to close.
God,
of awesome deeds, O God of awesome deeds,
grant us pardon as the gates begin to close.
Adonai Melech, Adonai Malchach, Adonai Yimlok Leolam Va'ed. The Lord, the everlasting King, the Lord will reign forever and ever. Before the earth and the skies were formed, the Lord was king. When heaven's light had yet to shine, the Lord did reign. Through light, though like a garment, earth decay, and the heavens all as smoke dissolve, the Lord will reign forever. Before the earth's expanse was spread, the Lord was king. And when its creature all were formed, the Lord did reign. Though earth from out of its orbit reel and tremble to its lowest depths, the Lord will reign forever. Please rise. Avinu Malkeinu, let the gates of heaven be open to our plea. Avinu Malkeinu, do not turn us away empty-handed from your presence. Avinu Malkeinu, forgive and pardon all our misdeeds. Avinu Malkeinu, remember that we are dust. Avinu Malkeinu, have compassion on us and on our children. Avinu Malkeinu, let the new year be a good year for us. Avinu Malkeinu, seal us for blessing in the book of life. Avinu Malkeinu, give strength to your people Israel. Avinu Malkeinu, make an end to all oppression. Avinu Malkeinu, hasten the time of our redemption. Avinu Malkeinu, be gracious and answer us, even when we have a little merit. Treat us generously and with kindness, and be our help. Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Imanu Masi, Asay Imanu, Asay Imanu, Asay Imanu, Tzedakah v'chesed v'hoshienu. Asay Imanu, Tzedakah v'chesed v'hoshienu. Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Imanu Masi. Please be seated. Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu, Tavo lefanecha tefilatenu, ve'al titelanu
Our God, God of our mothers and fathers, grant that our prayers may reach you. Do not be deaf to our pleas, for we are not so arrogant and stiff-necked as to say before you, our God and God of all ages, we are perfect and have not sinned. Rather do we confess, we have gone astray, we have sinned, we have transgressed. Shalom, Baganu, Gazalnu, Balnu, Dofu. We have all committed offenses. Together, we confess these human sins.
The sin of arrogance, bigotry, and cynicism, of deceit and egotism, flattery and greed, injustice and jealousy.
Some of us have kept grudges, were lustful, malicious, or narrow-minded.
Others were obstinate or possessive, quarrelsome, rancorous, or selfish.
There was violence, weakness of will, xenophobia.
We yielded to temptation and showed zeal for bad causes.
We have turned aside from your commandments and from your precepts, and it has not availed us. You are just. Whatever befalls us, you call us to righteousness, but we bring evil upon ourselves. What shall we say before you, who dwell on high? What shall we plead before you, enthroned beyond the stars? Are not all things known to you?
As in your love, you have been patient with this people from the time you led us out of Egypt to the present day. So in your great love, may you forgive your people now.
And God said, I have pardoned in response to your plea. You hold out your hand to those who have rebelled against you. Your right hand is stretched out to receive those who turn back to you, eternal God. You have taught us to confess all our faults before you, so that we may turn away from violence and oppression. In accordance with your gracious promise, accept our repentance, which we offer to you in all sincerity.
We know that we end in dust, but your compassion has no end. For
what are we?
What is our life, and what our faithfulness?
What is our goodness, and what our vaunted strength? What can we say in your presence, O Lord God of all ages? Are not all the conquerors as nothing before you, and those who are down as though they had not been, the learned as if they had no knowledge, and the wise as if without understanding?
Many of our works are vain, and our days pass away like a shadow. Since all our achievements are as insubstantial as mist, how can we look upon ourselves as higher than the beasts?
Yet
Yet from the beginning, you set us apart to stand erect before you. And in your love, O gracious God, you have given us this day of atonement, that our sins may cease and be forgiven, and that turning away from violence and oppression, we may turn back to you and do your will with a perfect heart.
In your great mercy, have compassion upon us. For you do not desire the world's destruction. As has been said, seek the eternal while there is yet time. Cry out like God is near. Let the wicked forsake their ways. Those that know evil their thoughts, let them return to the Lord, who will show them mercy, to our God, who graciously pardon.
You are a God of forgiveness, gracious and merciful, endlessly patient, loving and true. You ask evildoers to return to you, and do not seek their death. For it has been said, declare to them, as I live, says the eternal God, it is not the death of the wicked I seek, but that they turn from their ways and live. Turn back from your evil ways, for why should you choose to die, O house of Israel?
Now send forth your hidden light, and open to your servants the gates of heaven. O great God, in your justice and your perfect love, open us for wisdom's gates. That it need not shine, if Open for us the gates of righteousness, and we shall enter to praise our God. Open the gates, open them wide. We knock at your gates, O gracious one. Do not turn us away empty-handed. Open the gates, O God. Open the gates for us and for all of Israel. Open the gates of blessing for us all. The gates of atonement, benevolence, and compassion.
The gates of dignity, excellence, and faith.
Generosity and hope, insight and joy.
Kindness and love, melody and nobility.
Openness, purity, and quietude.
Renewal, simplicity, and truth.
The gates of understanding and virtue. The gates of wonder and zest. Open the gates, open them wide. Open the gates, O God, show us the way to enter.
Restore us, O God, show us again the light of your presence, that we may find deliverance.
Open the gates for us, even now, when the gates are closing, as the day begins to fade. Open the gates fading, the sun is setting, let us enter your gates.
The day is fading, the sun is setting, the silence and peace of night descend upon the earth. Give rest now, O author of peace, to our troubled hearts. Lift up the spirit oppressed by guilt. Turn, O loved ones, to your children. Turn every broken heart and every burdened soul. Let us at this hour be sure of your forgiveness. From your house, Lord, we are about to return to our homes. Enter them with us, that they may become your sanctuaries, dwelling places of your spirit. Then will our homes stand firm against the storms of life, to be a shelter for all that is good and a refuge from evil. and still another dwelling place have you destined for us, O source of life, an eternal home to which we shall go when our brief day on earth has passed. Open for us then the gates of everlasting peace, and keep alive in those who follow us the truth, the visions, and the hopes we have struggled to make real. This twilight hour reminds us also of the day when, if we are faithful to our mission, your light will rise over all the world, and Israel's spiritual descendants will be as numerous as the stars of heaven. Teach our people to recognize the meaning of our history and the challenge of our destiny, to proclaim to all your children the truth of Israel's message, one humanity on earth, even as there is one God in heaven. You alone know when this great hope shall be fulfilled, but the day will surely come, even as none of your words return fruitless without having accomplished your purpose. Then joy will thrill all hearts, and from one end of the earth to the other will ring the exalted cry, Hear, O Israel, hear all creation. The Lord is our God, the Lord is one. Your house shall be called a house of prayer for all peoples. All nations shall flock to it and exclaim in triumphant song, Lift up your heads, O gates. Lift yourselves up, O ancient doors. Let the King of glory enter. Who is this King of glory? The Lord of hosts. He is the King of glory.
Please rise.
Lord, whither can I go from your spirit? Whither can I flee from your presence? If I ascend to the heavens, you are there. If I make my home in the lowest depths, behold, you are there. If I take up the wings of the morning and dwell on the ocean's farthest shore, even there your hand will lead me. Your right hand will hold me. And if I say, surely the darkness will conceal me, night will hide me from view, even the darkness is not too dark for you. The dark is clear as the day. When I consider the heavens, the work of your hands, and when I gaze at the measureless sea of space and the endless host of stars that sail in it, and when I set out to understand this marvel and its tremendous maker, then your greatness and power overwhelm me. Your infinite majesty makes me tremble with awe, for the worlds beyond count are but a breath of your spirit. The lucid suns, only beams of your light. Oh, what are we that you have given us eyes to see something of your truth? What am I that you have given me thought to fathom something of your purpose? Yet upon the earth, with all its abundance and beauty, forests dancing with life, mountains rising like prayers, seas roaring their creative hymn, with all the mysteries of the boundless depths and the immeasurable heights, you have chosen us to proclaim your grandeur and to voice the longing of all being for you, O King of the universe and fountain of life. In women and men, children of dust and offspring of heaven. You have blended two worlds, perishable earth and immortal soul, finite matter, locked into time and space, and infinite spirit, which endures through all eternity. You have given us dominion over the works of your hands and placed all things under our care. You have commanded us to live at peace with all living creatures and to walk softly in their presence. But there is that in us which darkens the soul. Called to a life of righteousness, we rebel, arrogance possesses us. The passions that rage within us drown the voice of conscience. Good and evil, virtue and vice, love and hate contend for the mastery of our lives. Again and again we complain of the struggle, forgetting that the power to choose is the glory and greatness of our being. When we succumb, life loses its beauty, and within us sounds the voice of judgment. Where are you? How you have fallen, O children of the Most High. But sure as your judgment, Lord, sure still is your mercy. It is not the death of sinners you demand, only that they return to you, return to life. The gates of your forgiveness are open wide, and all who seek to enter may be at one with you. Aware of our weaknesses, eternal God, we have come before you, longing for your presence, your light, your peace. We have reflected with anguish on a life misused and fulfilled with regrets, on opportunities neglected and promises unfulfilled. We have struggled to reach you, to turn back to you and to your law. Accept then our penitent spirits. Be with us as our hope for the future. Now as evening falls, light dawns within us. Hope and trust revive. The shadow that darkens our spirit is vanished, and through the passing clouds there are breaks with the last rays of the setting sun, the radiance of your forgiving peace. We are restored, renewed by your love. How can we find words to thank you for this goodness? And how can words alone be fitting thanks? And so we take this pledge. We will thank you with our lives. We will offer to you the work of our hands. Fill then our heart, our life, our work with a constant love for you, God of the universe, creator of all life, Lord of all being. Then shall our souls rejoice and sing. You have turned my grief into dancing, released me from my anguish, and surrounded me with gladness. O Lord my God, I shall give thanks to you forever.
יתקבל סוצון ואמרו בכל ישראל קדם אמרו וישמעיה ואמרו אמן. יהי שמם רב משמעיה וחיים עלינו בכל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומה ויעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן.
כיוון מלכותו לעולם ועד. ברוך שכיוון מלכותו Adonai hu Elohim, 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 Adonai hu Elohim. May the Lord bless your going out and your coming in from this time forth and forever. Amen. Sorry. No idea how this goes. Thank you. Let's eat. What? That's only one Shabbat. It's not Shabbat. Yeah. Oh. I want our mouth.
And look, we have rain, exactly.
Yeah.
Gee, what a surprise. Something we haven't seen for a while.
Yeah.